Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Welcome back to another evening show, a late night show. After the Champions League, obviously Arsenal losing against PSG. What a wonderful day. What a wonderful evening. What a wonderful way to finish it off. Nothing better. Nothing better than watching Arsenal lose. You know, there was actually points during that match as a neutral that I was almost considering whether I wanted to see a goal just for the sake of, entertainment, being a neutral. And I had to snap myself out of it and say, Alex, no, this is Arsenal. That's not how this goes. You want PSG to score as many as they can because the thought of them winning the Champions League is, oh my God, I can't think of anything worse. But there is still a second leg, and I'll be honest with you. I mean, I have to admit, I think Arsenal will probably come up against the best side. I think PSG are the best side in the Champions League this season. They just look unbelievable under Enrique. And he could have been our manager. Remember that. He could have been the Chelsea manager. And we could be in a very different situation to where we are right now. But it didn't happen, and he's in France. Turned out to be a blessing tonight, at least, because he beat Arsenal. So I'd rather Enrique manage PSG tonight than Maresca. Let's just put it like that. Anyway, big up to everyone. Hope you're doing very well. And if you haven't already, smash the like button. Got over 40 of you in the building. Smash that like button. Let's get straight up to 25 likes on the video. Straight up to 25. We've already got 10 as it stands. Let's get up to 25 likes on the video. Let's start how we mean to go on. Get a nice early start in there. Big up to Stephen. I don't know why you always, when you say late, Stephen, you say this every time. Do you mean I'm late to start the show? Because I don't think I was late. I think I was on time. Or do you mean late as in it is a late show? What do you actually mean? Big up to CFC Andrew as well. Rain says PSG saved us. Big up to you as well, Stephen. Big up Jordan. Thank you, Enrique, elite manager. We hired Potter instead. You're not wrong. They are not going to the Champions League. Arsenal, Barcelona versus PSG in the final. Very, very true. Everything's a could have under Clown Lake's ownership. Greetings from Switzerland. Good to see you on the stream, El Flaco. Ale Parry, Robert. We are speaking the same language, my friend. Jordan says, I'd rather have Luis Enrique instead of Maresca, Alex. Wouldn't we all? I'd rather have a six-pack, but instead I've got a belly that's a little bit round. I'd rather have no hair, but instead I've got a beard. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, as Stephen said earlier. Big up, Alex. PSG doing me justice. There you go, Jay. Good to see that we can sleep well tonight, at least. Arsenal, I hate the worst TIFO I've ever seen in my life. To be honest with you, I was working until 9 o'clock, so actually didn't get to see the first half. Didn't see the TIFO. What was on the TIFO? What did it look like? I have no idea. Am I French? No, monsieur. Oui, oui, says Story. That's about as far as I will go. I know croissant. I know pain au chocolat. I know bonjour. And if we're going to get personal, because we're talking about Arsenal here, I say tagal. Tagal, which, if I'm not wrong, means fuck you in French. So if you ever want to say something to a French person, say tagal. Tagal. Something like that. These losers think Rodgers will leave for Chelsea after signing a 6-year contract. Delusional mugs. Well, listen, we'll see what happens. All I can say, you might say up the Villa, but you're going down the table. And Man City have ruined your chances of getting Champions League football. So you can sit here and say all you want, put in the clown emojis. You're spending all of your money that is available on players. And you are still behind Chelsea, who have been absolutely, to be honest, I don't know how we're still in the position we are. And we're still ahead of Aston Villa. So I don't think Villa have much to shout about. Not to mention the fact that you lost 3-0 to Crystal Palace. I mean, have a day off. Fucking hell. I mean, that is ridiculous. Did you even go to that game? Because when I was watching the TV, I didn't even know if there was any Villa fans. I'll be honest with you. I was thinking, has everyone just travelled from South London today? I can't see anyone from Birmingham. Maybe they were watching from Birmingham on the TV, but I don't know. I saw people in the seats. I just couldn't hear anything. Anyway, you're out, so it doesn't matter. Let's move on. Arsenal Champions League virgins, lol. Interesting one. Doué is a great player. Big fan of Doué, definitely. Big up to Ishak. I hope you're doing well, mate. Tegal Arsenal. There you go. I actually think it's T-A and then it's G-A-L. Tegal or Gul. I don't fucking know. Get a translator in here. Someone get me a translator. There you go. Get a translator in the building. We need to get our grammar on point, guys. We need our grammar there. Not that I really care. At times, I don't even think I can speak English, let alone French. So let's just stick to what we know for now. Okay. So, yes, Scott will be joining the stream shortly. He is in the gym. He was running late. But me, always, ever the professional, obviously going to start the stream on time because that's what I do. There you go. I look fresh. I'll take the compliment. I did have a shower after I got back from work, so maybe that's why. But I appreciate the compliment. Don't feel fresh, but I feel better after watching PSG and Arsenal. Okay, so where do we start, guys, when we look at today's news? Obviously, we went on the lunch show. We were talking about a number of things. Rodrygo was the highlight of that show. Basically, can you justify paying 100 million euros for Rodrygo? This is a question that was put out on Twitter by Vince. Would you pay 100 million euros for Rodrygo? We went through his stats. He plays a lot of games, played over 50 games past sort of 3 seasons. He's still there now. But it is getting slightly less each time. I think it went from 57 to 53. He's currently on 50. Good chance he'll probably even up his tally from last year. I'm not seeing enough GA to justify 100 mil, to be honest with you. Like, he's a great player. I agree with you, Jay. He's class. But 100 mil? I don't know. I'm not really on that. I'm not really on that wave, to be honest with you. I looked at what Real Madrid paid for him. They paid about 45 million euros. Okay, 39 million pounds. And, you know, if I was in a Real Madrid situation, I want to make a profit on the player. So let's just say 45 million euros. What is a fair profit? 20 million, 25, maybe 30 million. Okay, I'm not giving you 60 million more than you paid for the guy. It's not happening. Alex, I missed the stream earlier. What was with all the comments asking you for a kiss? Let's just say that there is someone called Donna Cullen who isn't even the real Donna Cullen. And the real Donna Cullen works for Tottenham and she's like head of PR or something like that. The real Donna, but there's someone who goes on and pretends to be Donna Cullen. And yeah, basically that's what that was. So I wouldn't worry too much. Look, that's what I said on the lunch stream. She's clearly not got any loyalties to the channel because I'm streaming now. Where is she? Where are you, Donna? The only Donna I can rely on these days is a Donna kebab. That's about as good as it gets. Good to see you, David. 100 million, no chance. I totally agree with you, John. No chance whatsoever. For me, my limit on this is about 70 million. That is as high as I'd be willing to go. And I am talking in euros, not pounds. Pounds, well, 60 million, something like that. 60, 65, whatever the conversion is, something like that. That's still a healthy profit for Real Madrid. Also, though, they just have a lot of players now. And the argument based on this article, I'm not entirely sure, like, if there's any truth to it. It's a Spanish source. Was that Rodrygo is slowly becoming irrelevant at Real Madrid? Do I think he is becoming irrelevant? Obviously not that much if he's playing 50 games a season. He's got to be somewhat relevant because he's fucking playing. If he was only playing 20 games, it would be different. You look at Dewsbury Hall, that's irrelevant. João Felix is irrelevant. And Kunku is becoming irrelevant. Irrelevant is a totally different definition in Spain, though, based on what I read on that article. So yeah, that's what the lunch show was entailed. We were talking about that particular player. Yeah, personally, not something that I would be willing to spend 100 million on, especially if you're then looking at the likes of Osman and other players. You're not going to be able to spend as much money. So that for me is pretty obvious, pretty clear. Got a couple of updates as well based on some other players. We're going to start off with Liam Delap. According to Ben Jacobs, Liam Delap's £30 million relegation clause is now active. He is now expected to prioritise European football and is likely to wait and see who has what come the end of the season. So Newcastle, Chelsea and Man United are in the race for this player. Obviously, United are looking to get Champions League via winning the Europa League. We're looking to get Champions League through the league, finishing top 5. If United don't win the Europa League, they get nothing. If we don't win the Europa League, there's still a huge chance that we'll get the Europa League, Conference League. God, I'm getting my words muddled up. If we don't finish in the top 5, then there's a good chance that we'll still get European football. So I think we have the lead in terms of the race against United. Newcastle is a real problem, though. And if they get Champions League, I just have a nasty feeling that we lose out on the player. To be totally honest with you, I think we'd probably lose out on the player. That would be a disaster for us. How are we doing, Scott? Good to see you, buddy.
Not too bad. Apologies for the tardiness.
What is it they say? Lateness is greatness? Is that what they say?
I think that's what Matisse says. Lateness is greatness. Yeah, not too bad. I'm knackered.
You're knackered. What did you train in the gym?
I was back today.
Nice. Did you? I'm guessing you didn't watch the game, the Arsenal game.
No.
Well, they lost. Happy days.
I saw the result. Yeah, I saw the result. Very good result for everyone outside of Arsenal fans.
So yeah, we were just talking about some of the latest stuff. I was talking about Rodrygo. That was what came out around lunchtime. Would you pay £100 million for Rodrygo?
Yes.
Let me ask. You would pay 100 mil? No, sorry, yes, euros, not pounds. Euros.
Yes.
Damn.
One of the best wingers in the world, goal scorer, assister. The only thing I have question marks about, and this isn't him, is does he fit the system? Because I think he works much better closer to goal. But yeah, you're talking about a guy who can play both wings comfortably. Yeah, can
Swiss
do
Army
like
knife
he
and all
is
that.
Not a Swiss Army knife, but like in a sense of like positionally speaking, but just in terms of his all-round game is like, I think is incredible, and I think he is super unlucky. I think he is almost not to say he's the same level necessarily, but he's almost like how Neymar was with Mbappe and Messi at PSG. Like he's a little bit overshadowed, or almost Neymar at Barca almost, where it's like you can see he's the third string, which is unlucky for him playing with those two. But yeah, I think he is unreal. Like if this club had any sense about them, they would be like going. That would be something they do.
Can we just dive into that a little bit more? I'm surprised you said 100 mil, because I would take him, but I wouldn't pay 100 mil. So you're talking about skill here. I mean, are we talking about output as well?
Just all round. I mean, I don't actually know what his output is, I'll be honest, but I know internationally it's very bad, but so is Vinny's. But yeah, just his all round game, and I think he is the type of player I think you could build your team around, and I think, like I said, I think he's the type of player where, like, if we had him and Palmer and everyone else, I think most of the attention is on him in the team, despite how good Palmer's been. And I think that's just because the team he's played for, how good he has been. I think this season has been a bit hit and miss, but I think Real Madrid in total have been a bit hit or miss. And just everything. I think if he played for a team like a Bayern, or he was playing for City or something, like, because like if I'm City, I'm trying to sign him. Like that's something I'm trying to do. Like that fixes so many of their issues in terms of, I don't think he's actually that young either. I think he's like 24, 25.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
24. And And so yes, I just think he ticks so many boxes. The only thing is, and like I said, it's not a him issue, is like tactically speaking. But when like there are some times, and I've heard other people say this, and I agree with this. There are some times where you kind of have to take tactics and fits and profiles and styles and everything and throw it out the bin for players of a certain level. And I think Rodrygo is one of those players.
Well, looking at his stats, because I've got some of his stats in front. I was underwhelmed when I first saw this, because I was underwhelmed. When you're asking for 100 million, 12 GA in 30, I don't know. I appreciate this as a winger. I do appreciate that, but I'm not seeing a needle mover in that sense that's much better than what Madueke's bringing to Chelsea, based on how many appearances he's had, even Neto, even Sancho. Like, it's not far off, is it? So, you know, he has done all right in the Champions League. He's got 7 in 12. Copa del Rey, 2 assists in 5. Super Cup, 2 goals in the Super Cup. It's all right, mate. Like, again, like, I totally agree with you. I think he's a great player. I'm not here to criticize him, but I do think you can put a price on players. I think you've got to cap yourself at some point. It's like saying, you know, I'd sign Mbappe and I'd pay 500 million. It's like, what? He's a great player, one of the best in the world. You would not spend $500 million. You just wouldn't do it. Nobody would do it. So there's a cap on any player, no matter how good they are and what they can bring to your team. I think, me personally, I think we're looking around 60, 70 million max.
It's better than Neto, and we played 60 for Neto is how I look at it.
So yeah, so I would pay slightly more than 60, but not by a lot. 65, 70. That's as
how much is 100 million euros?
No, I'm talking euros.
You're talking, you pay 60 million euros or slightly more than 60 million euros?
Real Madrid paid 45 million for him. So if they were going to make a profit of 2025,
100 million euros, by the way,
that's enough.
100 million euros is 85 million pounds. I'm paying 100 million. I'm paying 85 million pounds for this player. He's better than Neto. We paid 60 something for him.
We say 70 million pounds then max. That's my limit.
There are players you cannot turn down in football, and he is one of them. Like, I'm paying that money. I would pay that money in a heartbeat. I'd sell every winger we have to going outside of obviously the ones coming in to go and get Rodrygo. He would be my starting winger, written in pen next season.
And if you had to sacrifice a centre back for Rodrygo, would you do that? I'm talking one of the centre backs that we could arguably sign, either Dean Huijsen or Mark Guehi. Could be Jonathan.
Yes, I can get Huijsen.
You'd sacrifice Huijsen?
Yes.
Not Guehi?
No. Actually, do you know what I'd do? I'd sacrifice both of them and go and get Bissek, who's 30 million.
Who does Bissek play for?
Inter Milan.
I haven't watched enough, to be honest with you. Hard for me to judge. I'll watch him on... Fucking hell, man. That's the thing about my job. I work until 9 on Wednesday. Bed. I don't think the game's until next week anyway, is it?
What game? The Inter
Barcelona game.
I don't think so. I actually don't know. I assumed it was all in the same week, but I don't know. As
far as I'm aware. Maybe I'm chatting rubbish. Someone can tell me. But I don't know, man. I'm just looking at those stats based on what I'm seeing with Rodrygo, and I'm seeing a player who's really good, but not enough to justify 100 mil. 100 mil, dude.
Yeah, I'd pay that. Like I said, I'd sell every winger we have to get him.
100 mil. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you would have done that at the beginning instead of Mudryk and these guys, probably would have justified it, to be fair. But
you look at
down that road.
You talk about output, but if you look at the output of, if you compare it to other wingers, and like before and after they've come to Chelsea, this is Neto's best ever scoring season ever in his career. Same with Madueke. Prior to joining
Real Madrid, like that is a club where you're expected to produce more than anywhere.
He's the third string attacker for a Real Madrid side. And look at how just completely a mess. I was gonna say discombobulated, but like so much of a mess that Real Madrid team is. They've got no creators in their midfield now that Kroos has left. They're in attack, it just doesn't fit. It's all disconjointed. Like they're, like I said, like this to me, like this is the type of transfer we should be doing and focusing on. Like I don't think it would surprise anyone if City did a signing like this, and he turned out to be amazing, and it was 100 mil well spent. And it's the same with
they
Bayern.
can't keep spending money, especially if they don't get Champions League. I would love nothing more than City to not. I did a pre-recorded show earlier with Lewis, and we were talking about who we hate the most. He hates Arsenal. Me, it's between Liverpool and City. I fucking hate City. I hate them. And I tell you what, I would love nothing more for them than not qualify for the Champions League. Get some Europa League football next season. I think that would be beautiful, especially after all that money they've spent in January.
Why do you hate City so much?
Because I don't believe they're a real football club, Scott.
What do you mean by that?
So this is the argument that people have with me about this. Is they go, oh well, hang on, you had Abramovich, you had all this money. Totally different. We had a man who loved the club. He bled blue. He literally loved Chelsea. He was part of the community. Happy to go and speak to fans, shake fans' hands, whatever. And invested all of his own money. All right. So we were run by an individual. We are now run by, City, are now run by a country, a state, whatever you want to call it. And they don't care. They do not care. There's no connection with that ownership and the fans.
There is, though.
No, there isn't. There is.
They're
having protests.
The exact same thing.
They're having protests at Man City. There's no connection. There was.
What do you mean having protests at Manchester City?
To do with Viagogo. And the ticket price is rising every single season.
Oh, you mean that happened? The thing that happened this season? Yeah, up until that, they had a great relationship. And the City owners have done the exact same that Abramovich did in terms of putting money into the club, improving the surroundings, obviously the new stadium, what they've done.
But you're just talking about money. And that's the problem, isn't it?
That's the same thing Abramovich did.
No, but Abramovich was part of the community, mate. You cannot dispute that. What do you mean how? He
spent 4 years out the country because he wasn't allowed here. That's not being part of the community.
Well, that's
also wasn't his fault.
He was part of the community before that. That was the government. That's nothing to do with Abramovich.
Cool. How was he part of the community?
Are you kidding me?
No.
You don't believe that Abramovich wasn't part of the Chelsea community when he walked down the street, shook people's hands? You know, CFC fanzine. Like he met Abramovich in Amsterdam, I think it was, when they played Benfica. Got him to hold up the CFC fanzine, take a picture with it. He's renowned for it, man. He used to walk down Fulham Road all the time.
That's cool. How do you know that Al Mubarak doesn't do the same thing? How do you know that the City owners don't do the same thing?
I don't hear about it. Don't see it. Do you?
Yeah, cool.
As far as I'm aware, the City owners only
ever been to a game. If I'm a rival fan,
the last game the Man City owner went to was in Istanbul.
Yeah, cool. If I'm a rival fan, all I see from Abramovich is the same thing.
You cannot compare City's ownership to Chelsea. I'm just not having it. I'm not having it at all.
You can compare in terms of what they've done for the club.
It's a state compared to an individual. It's different. And why do I hate City? Going back to that point,
it's not. Okay, that's the only difference. Is the fact it's a state with an individual in terms of the money they've put in terms of the care they've given to the club. It's the same with the Newcastle owners. It's the exact same with the Newcastle owners.
I wouldn't say that there's a consideration for the fan base. I wouldn't say that.
Otherwise, there's not consideration for the fan base.
Otherwise, they wouldn't keep it. This isn't the first time Man City have had issues with raising ticket prices. It's not the first time.
Every club in the Premier League does that.
Abramovich froze season ticket prices for 15 years.
Outside of Abramovich, every club in the Premier League does that. Every club.
My point.
I find this nuts. I find this absolutely insane. You can level things at City like 100% about their owners, about how they spend loads of money.
That's not the only reason I hate them. I believe that they are a manufactured football club. Whenever I see City play, I don't know what it is, mate. I listen to their songs, I listen to their atmosphere, I see the fans in the stadium. And by the way, I'm not even going to say that they have the worst atmosphere in the league, because they don't. I'd actually argue we have the worst atmosphere in recent times, which is almost sounds hypocritical. But, I just think that they have the worst fan base. If over a period of time that I've ever seen, like Scott, you were at the Carabao Cup final when Sarri was the manager. Do you remember those? They're fucking shit, mate. They're fans. I just can't understand how you could be a fan of a team or a collective fan base, and they just don't support the team. They're so quiet all the time. So I don't know, mate. There's a number of reasons I don't like City. I just don't look at them as a proper team, mate. I really don't. I just
Nuts.
don't. And people say,
respect
well, Chelsea bought success. We won trophies in the 90s. What did City win? What did they win? They won fuck all, mate.
That's fine. That's the criticism you can level at them. I find it absolutely nuts, like to say this, because like for me, I have massive respect for City and what they've done. Like they have comfortably, like at the moment, currently the best academy in England, like the best academy. You can see that with the way that the players coming through and the way that we're
but
trying to.
you're talking just again, like I'm not disputing.
Yeah, that's what I respect. Again, that's what I respect. I respect the way they've gone about their business in football. Like I respect what they've done.
Man City. That's it. That's my point. I hate them.
Fair. Like I just find that weird.
I hate them more than Arsenal. I hate them more than Tottenham.
You hate them more than Tottenham? Okay, that I find nuts. That I find absolutely insane.
What kind of a threat is Tottenham? What, am I scared that they're going to get relegated before us?
It's not about threat. I honestly, so you'd rather Arsenal win the league than City?
No.
That makes no sense, though. What?
Of course it does. I just wouldn't want. Arsenal haven't won the fucking league for years, and they're the most mouthy. It's different.
Yeah, that's why I hate this.
It's not black and white.
Fair enough. Like I said,
I hate Liverpool. I hate Man City. Then probably Arsenal. Those would be my top three if I had to pick. Tottenham, yeah, like we all hate Tottenham, but they're not a threat. Tottenham is just Tottenham. Honestly, mate,
it's not about
I was
being
more confident we would beat Tottenham than Brentford. Turned out to be right.
It's not about being a threat, though. My thing with Tottenham isn't like them being a threat. It's just I dislike Tottenham, and it's like I don't even dislike them that much anymore. It's just like a pity thing, to be honest. They're almost like QPR or Fulham.
I just don't like the club. I don't know what it is. I don't know. That I've never liked them. Never liked them at all. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I just hate them. What the fuck do you want me to say? I love them? Come on, people.
No, you don't say you love them. I don't love them, but I can respect them, and I don't really care for. Like, I don't really care either way. Like,
no, I care. I hope the 115 charges come in. That's what I hope.
Fair enough.
So we'll see. I mean, you can say that it's dumb to hate a team, but there's not. That's just an opinion. It's not a fact. I'm not stating something that needs to be true. You don't need to feel the way I do. I'm not talking to you on this, Scott. I'm talking to the chat. But hey, listen, each their own. Each their own. If you love City, be my guest. Be my guest. Right. So we've spoken about Liam Delap. We've spoken about Rodrygo. I personally wouldn't pay 100 mil. Scott would. Let us know in the chat what you think. We're going to move on to another player that we need to speak about. Mark Guehi. According to Jack Rosser, Newcastle are leading the race for Mark Guehi ahead of Tottenham, Chelsea, and Man City. Does this come as any surprise to you, Scott?
No, they were interested in him in January. I don't know if there was a bid tabled. I think there might have been, but they rejected it. So I'm not surprised. I don't think he'd go Tottenham just because I think for him to start at Tottenham, it would require one of their two centre-backs to leave. I know there has been interest in Romero, I think, from Atletico Madrid, and I could see that happening, but I think there's just too much around there. City, I can maybe see, but they've got about 1 million centre-backs, and I don't actually know who's starting, who's staying, because apparently there's problems with Kusanov now, so who knows?
Yeah, I heard about that. Guardiola's fallen out with him.
Apparently so. I'm not like that whole transfer.
It was all a joke, apparently.
I think so. That transfer was stupid anyway. Like I said it at the time when he was linked with us.
Why do you think it's a stupid transfer?
Because of you bought a player from a mid-table French team who'd had one good season and expected him to come into that team and immediately start because the injuries you had. It was always I didn't expect it to go as badly as it's gone in terms of him falling out with Pep, but I knew he would. I thought he would start as badly or as be as underwhelming as he has been in his first few games. Like you saw in the game against us. Obviously he got into the game, but he looked so out of place. It's because he's young, like he's a 20-year-old kid. I'm not surprised. It's just just didn't think it was the smartest transfer for them to make, considering. Like it's not a bad transfer in the grand scheme of things, but like it's considering all the context around them. So yeah, that leaves us and Newcastle. I don't think we'll buy him. Just because I just think number one, the age. Number two, I think the money will be potentially an issue. I think he's always going to be like second or third option. Like I think Huijsen's their first choice. So deal with him. I think they'll try and do that. Also, I don't know how because obviously we've got that. It's not a buyback clause. I think it's a right of first refusal clause. I think. I don't know how that comes into it because I think we can get some money back with that, basically.
Okay, I'm with you. Well, just going through the article, just go through what it says anyway, and you can make your own opinions as to whether you want to believe it or not. Obviously, we know Mark Guehi is going to have 1 year left on his deal in the summer, meaning this is Crystal Palace's last chance to get any money for the player before they can potentially lose him on a free. Newcastle had a £70 million bid knocked back for Guehi last summer. Obviously, instead, they decided to sell Joachim Andersen to Fulham for £30 million. Tottenham also failed in a bid during the January window. Can't even remember hearing about that, to be fair. But that's fair enough. Apparently, the offer was quite similar to one that Newcastle offered, but it was a late approach, so it didn't happen. Maresca's really keen to bring in a defender who's comfortable on the ball. Dean Huijsen's obviously another option as well. Obviously, he's had minutes for England this season in the Premier League. If I share some of the stats that Mark Guehi's had, played 32 games, a lot of minutes, 56 tackles, 22 fouls. I mean, to be honest, it's quite difficult to summarize this because I've got nobody to compare it to off the top, but seems pretty good. And obviously, we've seen the player a number of times. I thought he was one of the best players in the Euros when he was playing for England. He's an established international. It's not even a case of saying he's a well-proven player. This is a player that at the elite level we have seen perform on a consistent basis, whether that be for England as a, I think just the fact that you perform for England is enough in itself. I have no doubts that this transfer would work very well for us. I mean, honestly, Scott, I think we can't just rely on Guehi either. I think we've got to go for Huijsen as well. Me personally, I've been off the winger. I know you want Rodrygo. I look at Dean Huijsen, Mark Guehi, and then I look at a striker. You bring me those three players. We've already got three players coming in that are either already part of the Chelsea setup or a Sugu who we just signed, giving Caicedo depth. We've got Santos in the midfield, Petrovic in goal. You give me a striker and two centre-backs. I think that we're going to be able to handle the other positions.
I'd still take a winger, just because I think I don't want to keep Sancho, and I think then you need someone like that winger position.
Apparently that's already confirmed, though. I mean, it hasn't come out from Fabrizio or anyone like that, but apparently it's already done. I
saw another thing, I think the day before, because I know we talked about it on stream. I think the day before, on the same day, there was a thing that said like it's active in terms of, because we've now mathematically finished at 14th or above, it's active, so we can trigger it, but we're still deciding on what we want to do, which I think is good, because I still think he needs to show more, especially considering how cheap the fee is that we can send him back for. I would, and go and get another winger who's better. But yeah, I agree on the centre-backs thing. I think we do need two, because I don't really trust any of our centre-backs. In fact, I'd sell them all outside of Josh. And outside of Vega, actually, as well. But yeah, I think with the game, I disagree with what I said. I don't think he's shown on the elite level, but I do think that he is the best option that we can link with, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know if you saw ages ago in January, those list of centre-backs we got linked to. It was like Huijsen, Zabani, Thomas Araujo, Guehi, one or two others. And I think he was the best on that list. And I think he is, of all the ones we've been linked with, the best in terms of he fills the most holes we have in this team in defence. I think the only hole he doesn't fill is improving us aerially. This is one of his main weaknesses, I think, just due to his height, and I don't think it's one of his weaknesses. But he's a leader at the back. He's vocal. He's been a captain. Can play in a back two and a back three, showing that both internationally and for club. He has experience in terms in the Premier League. Obviously, doesn't have that top level experience, but we're not looking for that at the moment. So yeah, I would definitely get him. He would be the number one centre back I get, and honestly, like the other centre back, I think it depends. I think it depends what you want to do. I'd be happy with. I think I'd be happy with Huijsen, although I don't particularly like the price. Bissek for me would still be the guy I bring next to him. it's obviously cheaper. But yeah, I think regardless, I think he needs to come in as that first centre back we get in.
Yeah, I agree with you. Guehi would be a priority for me over Dean Huijsen. I'd still go for both of them, but I think there's a lot of competition for both players, and I mean, we're saying this as if we could potentially get Champions League football. I'm obviously hoping we can. If we don't, it's going to be very difficult to have the pull to beat the likes of Liverpool for Dean Huijsen. And then you've obviously got Newcastle as well for Guehi. So that is the issue there. But we know that both of those players would practically be starters immediately in this team. I saw another comment as well about Jonathan Tah. My suggestion is that you sell Tosin for 15 to 20 million, and then you use that money. You reinvest that wherever you want, but you bring in Jonathan Tah from Leverkusen on a free. You give him a nice contract because you're able to, because you got a lot of money for Tosin. You still made profit, and I think that's a great upgrade. So that gives you a little bit of experience and replaces the height that Tosin had anyway.
Potentially, I think the issue you've got with Tah is whether he'd leave, because if he comes into us, I think he's going to want to start, which he's not going to. I think he's had a very.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. He was someone I wanted last season. Was immense for them when they went unbeaten. This season, I think, has been quite a big drop off. Hasn't been anywhere near as good from what I've heard. And I think all signs and roads point to him replacing Kim Min-jae, or just any of the centre backs at Bayern. They've already agreed a deal to sell Dyer today. I think it was to sell. I don't know how much. That's why I said it might be a sell. I saw Fabrizio tweet. He's going to Monaco. I don't know whether it's a sale, a contract termination, whatever. But he's gone. I assume Kim Min-jae's gone. I mean, he's been linked with us, for goodness sake. Please don't do that. And so that leaves him with two centre-backs if they go. Upamecano and Ito, I think. So I think it just makes sense with Tah going there. I agree with you what you said on Tosin. Like, for me, if we can get rid of Tosin, get rid of... Well, Disasi's gone anyway, but get rid of Tosin. I don't think we get rid of Fafana, despite the fact I'd want him gone. I'd make him third choice, but get rid of Tosin, get rid of Badiashile, get rid of Colwill, and replace them with Huijsen, Guehi, and Vega in the squad. I'm more than happy with that.
Yeah. I think we've got a lot of opportunities to strengthen our team. I think this is what I was saying to Lewis as well. Even though I dislike Maresca and I'm not a fan of what he's done, I will not sit here and say that we will play worse football than we have this season when we have a better goalkeeper. You probably have better defenders, more depth in the midfield, and fingers crossed we have a top striker as well. It doesn't matter what manager you are, you've got better players, you're going to play better football. And that is one thing that I'm holding out for. I know he's not getting sacked, so we'll see what happens there. One thing as well, I was really go on, Scott.
I'll just say on that, I do agree with you. I think, and I've said this before, and I think I said this after what was the game that I basically said I'm done with him? I can't remember what game it was. I think we either lost or drew. I cannot remember the game, but this window is going to be, and next season, the start of next season, be so key from rest, because I agree with you. He's basically going to have nowhere to hide because he's going to have Petrovic coming back. What happens with Petrovic and Santos is strike 1 and 2, or maybe just strike 1 as a whole for me over the summer. I can understand Santos not starting necessarily. If he is not getting regular minutes, by January, or by the first couple of months, really, that's serious red flags. If Petrovic is not our starting goalkeeper next season, that's serious red flags. And I agree with you. I think with better players, obviously with more depth in midfield, even if we get Delap, that's an improvement on us having no backup striker or having Hugh. Even if we get say we do the Sancho getting swap deal, I think that's just a nothing. It's just a sideways move, honestly. Or if we just don't get Sancho and get Gittins, I still think that's a sideways move. But if we get the centre backs in, if we get Huijsen, if we get Guehi, I agree with you. I think he's going to have nowhere to hide. If we still are seeing the same problems, if the defence is still shaky, if we're still seeing issues in terms of the midfield not looking connected all the time, if we're still having issues in attack, I agree with you. I think he'll have nowhere to hide, and the criticism will come down heavy on him early as well.
Interesting links as well that's coming out, Scott, to do with I can't believe we're being linked with him, but we're being linked with Aston Villa's Morgan Rogers. Apparently, according to Miguel Delaney, Chelsea are targeting Morgan Rogers as one of the summer signings to bolster our attack. There's the there's the tweet there. There's also an article which has come out via the Independent, which is who Miguel Delaney writes for. It says that the 22-year-old has been one of the Premier League's season's revelations, having quickly gone to the next level as a player since signing for Unai Emery's side in January 2024. Aston Villa do not want to sell Rodgers and view him as a star for the future, but there is now widespread belief in football circuits that profit and sustainability rules, that's PSR, will force clubs into a transfer churn and make decisions they wouldn't usually regarding players they want to keep. It is why this summer may be in a especially active window. Villa face particular pressure in this regard, given that their wage bill has been at over 90% of revenue. Yeah, mate, they're the biggest spenders in that sense. To give you an idea of Chelsea's spend, we were at 77%. We lowered it down to 71%. So the fact that Villa have got it so high is, they've been pushing hard, obviously.
By the way, if sorry to interrupt you, I had a look. If the women's team thing had gone through with UEFA, that would have gone down to 50%.
Damn, really?
Yeah, because I had me and a couple of other people on the stream. Well, I say me and a couple of other people. There was one dude that was talking about us financially, and I had debate, it was kind of more of an argument with him about it. And I looked up our wage bill, and this includes loanees and all the youth players and everything. Our wage bill, if that thing had gone through, would have been 50%. And so, like I said, if that was can you hear that echo, by the way?
What, on your screen or?
No, I just was hearing an echo. Seems to have gone now. If that sale had gone through, it would have gone down to 50%. Like I said, that was including all the loanees, so like Sterling, Chilwell, Disassi. It was including like youth players like Stutter, I think, was in there. David Washington, players like that. So it's like, I felt like they'd accepted that sale. We could have had so much more room to work with, man.
Apparently, we've still got a lot of room to work with. That's the thing, though. The Athletic did a deep dive. I did a 2-hour stream, basically just reading the article. I had no idea it was going to be that long. I started at 10 and I finished just by midnight. I was like, Jesus. But I thought, I've got to push through. I can't read half an article and end. So I did finish it off. But it was fascinating, mate. Looking at the financials, looking at where we are. I mean, we're spending so much money, but we're just refining all the loopholes. But it is gonna come back to haunt us at some point. So we need to get money in via success on the football pitch, i.e. Champions League. So just finishing off this article as well. Aston Villa's chances of getting to the Champions League were hurt by the defeat at Man City last week after a goal by blah, 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 blah. Is there anything else? Chelsea feel there may be an opportunity to do business with Aston Villa and anticipate another busy market themselves. One of the issues highlighted for summer plans is the need for more thrust in attack. Rodgers would certainly offer that after a season where he has so far hit 14 goals. So that's what Miguel Delaney had to say about that. Me personally, I think Rodgers would be a great addition, but what are you going to do? Are you going to put him on the bench, or are you going to move one of the players onto the left or right?
This is such a weird one for me because I really like this player and I really like this move if we do it, because I think he works in a lot of positions. Like, I know I hate this term and I've hated this term, but he is actually one of those Swiss Army knife players, quote unquote, that kind of works. Played as a striker when he was at City and going out on loan. Like when he went to loan on West Brom, was mainly a striker, was also playing on the wing a bit. This number 10 thing, as far as I'm aware, only really started happening in big, like in such a big team, like when he went to Villa, basically. Like he wasn't really playing as 10 as much. It was more on the wing and up front, as I said. So that's 3 or 4 positions that he can cover in this team. Obviously, you got the City Academy thing. He's talented. Like I think he just works. I think if you get him, you can afford to have like Jackson and Osimhen in a team because you can have Rodgers as the striker in that position for a month or so, and I think he fits there. Like I think obviously he's got the chemistry of the City Academy players. I think it works. The thing that I just find weird about this all is if this is the plan, and we don't know, obviously take all links with a result, we could have done this deal before he went to Villa. Like we literally played against him. He scored against us. So
Which game was that?
Middlesbrough. When we played Middlesbrough in the cup, he scored against us.
Holy fuck!
Yeah, we played against him, and I just looked.
Was that the away game?
Yeah, that's the game we won. He scored the consolation
6-1.
goal. Yeah, he scored the consolation goal for Middlesbrough.
Oh my god!
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, and he was already obviously come through the City Academy. Villa bought him literally that January, and they bought him for 8 million plus add-ons, and the add-ons only go up to 15 million. Like, if we buy him now, he's going to cost us 4 times that. That's what I find weird. Like, it's a great move. I think it's a good move, and it's finally when it comes to attacking players. Like, I don't think we're getting either of them. I'll be clear, but him and Rodrygo are finally 2 like links in attack that are actually very good, considering the other crap we've been linked with. But yeah, I just find it a bit weird. Of like, they've tried all this thing of like get this player before he hits the big time, so you don't play as much. But you had a chance to do that, and you decided to wait and then pay 4 times, whatever it is. But like I said, that's me griping about the finances.
On Rodgers, how much did they pay?
8 million.
8 mil.
Yeah, and then it was 8 million plus add-ons. If he hits all the add-ons, it goes to 15.
I'm sure he's probably not far off.
It probably isn't, but like I said, they can sell him considering how key he's been for them, and considering I think he's the one they'll keep in terms of you look at all their attackers. Obviously, I think they might keep Rashford. I don't know. Asensio, I don't know. He's their one piece that I think they can build around in that attack. If they sell him, he's going to cost you 50 million plus.
Do you think he's worth 50 million though? I would argue he probably is. I could justify paying 50 million for Rodgers.
I think he is as well. Yeah, I think he is worth that just because of like he's an attacker, number 1, English tax, number 2, Premier League tax, number 3. Unfortunately, Premier League rival, number 4. So like, yeah, he probably is worth that. It just baffles me how you like. It's just that baffles me. You could have done this earlier and cost you way less. And like there would have been people that complained, but who cares? There are people that complain when we bought Palmer. I don't care. So yeah, that's the only gripe I have. But like I said, it's finally outside of Rodrygo, another good link in attack that we've had. Like I'd rather these links than the Garnacho and Gittins and whoever else that we're getting linked with in attack.
Well, I'll give you that. Definitely better than both. Although when I saw 35 mil for Jamie Gittins, I'm not opposed to it if we sign the other positions. If you get me 2 centre-backs and a strikers, I don't really care if you buy Jamie Gittins. It doesn't really bother me.
I'd rather keep Sancho than get Gittins.
Well, presuming that we don't see Mudryk coming back after his ban, then
I'd rather use George
in there. Oh, you'd rather just use like
next season for me, that left wing, the backup left winger position should be George's regardless. Because I don't think with Quenda coming in, I just don't think it's worth getting another winger for a season. But then I think I think the starting left winger next season is either going to be Sancho or Gittins, like Sancho or a Sancho replacement, basically, in my mind.
Fair. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem keeping Sancho as long as he's a rotation option. I don't really see him as a player that should be starting regularly.
The other thing as well that Rodgers does if we get him, and again, I don't think any of this is likely that we get him, but I'm just speaking on if we could. He gives you real good depth behind Palmer and gives you the opportunity to rest him and drop him when he's having moments like he is at the moment. Like when you can have moments where you can take him out of the team and take him out of the limelight, and you're not putting an Nkunku in or a Felix in, or you're not putting Enzo or KDH at the number 10. Like he actually gives you a good option behind Palmer if you are going to have him.
It's true. It is very true. Jordan says Rodgers could be better than Nkunku.
I think he is.
I mean, for Chelsea, definitely. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And Kunku, especially in recent games. Ryan Cherky as well, another good shout at cheaper option than Rodgers. What's he going for? 20, 30 mil?
Something like that. Well, that's another. You're talking about another team that's broke.
Why do you think is that the only reason they're selling him so cheap? Because they got no money.
Yeah, that whole group is a mess. Like, it's weird because they've got such a successful team in Brazil, but Leon are a mess financially, like the complete mess. I don't know how Palace are doing. I think they're all right, but I know they're not massively happy with the Texter group. But yeah, I have no idea. Like, I think it is due to like the just how bad they are financially. Like, they had to get rid of one of their strikers in January, who was doing well for them again, just because how bad they are financially.
Jeez, man. Right, let's move on to another player. This one I didn't see coming at all, but to be honest with you, I just see this as more like why are we even having this conversation?
That number. Just seen that number. Okay.
Arsenal and Chelsea are among the clubs showing an interest in Nico Williams, but his representatives are demanding more than 400k a week for him to move. How many players in the league are on 400 grand?
I was going to check something. If there's no way he's on that.
If he's on about 250 at the moment. He's on 250.
No, I was having a look. I don't believe this for a second, by the way. I'm going to put that out there. I do not believe this for a second. This is the first and only time I've ever seen this number be quoted when it comes to Nico Williams. I think the most I've seen prior to this was like 250k a week.
Sure, that's what he's on now, though. About the same.
I think so. Well, I think that's what he's on now, but I think that's kind of the whole point. Is he doesn't want to go lower,
basically. To match it, okay.
Yeah, because it's the way Bilbao works. It's complicated and would take longer than we've got for the rest of this video to explain how Bilbao transfers work.
Well, basically, they only sign local players, and that's why they're able to.
But they don't get transfer fees or something because of like they can only sign players from the Basque region, so they pay really high wages to offset that, and it's a bit complicated.
Wait, what?
Yeah, basically. So like if you notice like Basque players or players from Bilbao have really high wages. Someone did explain it the other day. I can't remember the reason why, but also, for example, like when you sign someone from Bilbao, you don't pay the club, you pay the player, and they buy themselves out of the contract. That's what we did with Kepa. That's why we paid 72 mil. That was his release clause. We basically paid him, and he paid the club and bought himself out of his contract.
Oh. Okay.
It's because they can only sign Basque players. Their transfers work a bit differently, basically. I just had a look. If I don't know if this is his up-to-date wages, because I could have sworn he got a pay rise. If he indeed is asking for 400k a week, and Arsenal signed him. This is Arsenal, by the way. It's not us. Arsenal. He would be on twice as much wages as Bukayo Saka. He would be on over 100 grand more than Kai Havertz, who's their top earner.
Kai Havertz on 280.
Yeah.
You've got Omar Marmoush on 295 at City. Bernardo Silva's on 300. Bruno Fernandes is on 300. Grealish 300.
He would be one of 4 players on 400. That's
Casemiro 350. De Bruyne 400.
And who's leaving? Actually, yeah, De Bruyne is leaving, so he'd be one of 3 players in the league next season.
Van Dijk 400, Salah 480, Haaland 500. Fucking hell, that's a big contract. This I don't believe this
for a second. And his representatives aren't. This cannot be true because there's no way his representatives are saying this, because he's never getting that anywhere. Unless his plan is to stay at Bilbao for the rest of his career, which I don't think it is, because he seems like he's got higher aspirations. Sorry, Bilbao, but just sorry. He's not getting paid 400 grand a week anywhere. Outside of maybe Barcelona, because they're absolutely insane.
Nah, Barcelona wouldn't even pay him that. They're broke. What are you talking about? Barcelona don't have any money. Get that
That's true.
Spotify check. That's what they need to do. Get that Spotify check.
I went to, on a side note with Barca, I went to Barcelona, the city, a couple of years ago, and when they were building the stadium, it looks a mess at the moment. But yeah, he's not getting this anywhere at any club. Even City wouldn't pay him this. Like, we've just gone through the only two players they've got over 400k a week are De Bruyne, who's leaving, and Haaland. Marmoush they signed is on.
Well, they've got Van Dijk and Salah as well.
Yeah, that's Liverpool though, and it's also like they need those guys. So it's like I wouldn't be surprised. Like, it wouldn't shock me if they had the money. They would pay them $1 million a week just to keep them.
Do you think they'll do something similar with Trent?
No, I think Trent wants to go. I think I think with those two, like Van Dijk especially, I didn't expect ever to leave. I didn't expect him to leave at all. Salah, I thought the only place he really goes maybe is Saudi Arabia, but if they're willing to pay him that 480, like, because I think that was the issue when he signed his contract. Not this one, the one before. It's like he just wanted more money. So yeah, I think that's more Trent. Trent, I just think wants to leave because he wants a new challenge, and he's seen that Real Madrid lure. So I think he's gone. But yeah, I'm looking at like City's things. They've got 3 players on Near As Makes No Difference, 300k, and then it's Haaland. So like he'd be their second highest earner. That's stupid, and that's the only team in England I think that could afford to pay him those wages. Like that, yeah. This I don't believe this for a second.
No, it doesn't seem like or maybe it is realistic, and his agent's just deluded.
Hey Nico, I know a certain Nigerian man that you should speak to about agents and crazy like demands.
I don't think Osimhen's demands are that crazy though, are they?
No, I mean like his agent screwed him over. It's more what I mean. Like his agent screwed him out of a move. Oh,
what do you think? He's asking for too many fees?
I think reportedly that was what broke down. Is like not necessarily. I don't think we wanted to pay him his wages anyway. But I think the issue with him like going elsewhere was because of his agent. That's why he like straight after the window closed when he joined Galatasaray, he sacked his agent.
Did he?
Yeah, he sacked his agent like straight away.
Don't blame him. To be fair, agent's done him dirty. Then would have been a great payday though if we got it done.
Oh, it would have been fantastic.
Yeah. So I think we can agree that there's not really much to this this rumor with this particular player. I mean, that's probably the extent of a lot of the Chelsea news. I mean, there was also a comment from Ben Foster on Aaron Ramsdale to Chelsea. He said, yes, I would. He would be an upgrade. Rambo needs to find a team that are going to be solid, settled Premier League team, and you'll get another 10 years out of him at the top level. I mean, considering that he's been relegated, is it 3 times now? He's been part of 3 relegation teams. Arsenal would probably around where Chelsea are at the moment when they decided to get rid of him or replace him with Raya. So that tells me that maybe he's capped. Well, Arteta at least thought he was capped. I'm not seeing it.
No, you and me both. By the way, it's 3 relegations in 5 years. By the way,
3 in 5 years. I'm not even saying he's a bad keeper. He's
a mid-table keeper. He is effectively what Robert Sanchez sucks anyway. But like
he's better than Robert Sanchez.
Yeah, but I can cuss Petr Cech is better than Robert Sanchez. That's not saying that.
It's true.
But yeah, like he would do really well at maybe Brentford, or maybe Fulham if they didn't already have Leno, or maybe Brighton, or maybe Bournemouth if they don't keep Kepa, or someone like that, right? Like that.
Well, he was a Bournemouth keeper, so I can.
Oh, and he got relegated. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, like this. Yeah, this. No, what? No.
Maybe Wolves. That would be a good one instead of
Wolves. That's not a bad shout. Sarr has been just a complete mess this year, so it's not a bad shout.
United. Hey,
no, they need better. Again, club. They are technically mid-table, or the lower mid-table. They need better as well. But yeah, like this. Aaron Ramsdale is a. I'll tell you what Aaron Ramsdale is. Aaron Ramsdale is exactly what people think Jordan Pickford is. Like Jordan Pickford, I think, has established himself now as a fairly solid Premier League keeper. But if you go back to think of what people thought he was a couple of years ago, like just the dirt worst, like the worst. That's what Aaron Ramsdale is. Like he is actually what people thought Pickford was. Like there would be no talk about him like this if he wasn't English. It's another one where if he played in La Liga or Serie A or he was French or Portuguese, there would be none of this because he's just average.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I'm with you there, dude. Yeah, that's an overriding no from myself and Scott on Aaron Ramsdale. Has anyone suggested
25 million for him?
Yeah. We've got about 100 of you in the building, guys. We've got 57 likes on the video. Let's get up to 75 likes. Smash the like button, guys. Doesn't cost anything. Takes a minute. If you enjoyed the video, smash the likes. It helps. Shows us that you're enjoying the content. It encourages us to continue making it as well. Hey, Scott, listen, man. I'm going to see you tomorrow, obviously, for the evening show. We'll be on at 10 again. And then I will be on... Tomorrow's Wednesday, isn't it? So me, Lewis, and Dan will be on the lunch show at 1 o'clock, guys. So if you want to watch the lunch show, tune in at 1 o'clock. Otherwise, 10 p.m. Myself and Scott will be back in. We'll be talking about... we'll be previewing our Conference League game against... How do you pronounce it? Deji Garden. We'll be talking about that team. The team that doesn't even have grass. Artificial pitch. Can you believe that? That's mad, isn't it?
That sounds right.
So yeah, that would be interesting. Even their own players have complained about it. So
I didn't know that.
See what happens. Yeah. Their own players don't even like it. So yeah, fingers crossed. And listen, big up to everyone, and we will catch you up very soon. Enjoy the rest of your evening and have a good one.